This is a preview of our monthly bonus episode. To get full access, go to patreon.com/systemcrashpod and become a supporter. I would say my initial response was like, some good things, some bad things. And I feel like the more that I sat on it and the more that I thought about it, I kind of warmed to it more over time. Because while I think the premise is still slightly bullshit, I think that there's a lot in there that helps to really kind of show the public how these tech billionaires think in a very tangible way, right? And I think that there is actually real value to that. Even if, the idea of like AI generated misinformation causing governments to collapse and stuff is something that I thought was a bit more far-fetched.
Yeah, same. So I think that I was like also a little bit like, oh, okay, so it's going to be because, like, I feel like the disinformation frame is kind of like the go-to, kind of like, neoliberal critique of technology. It's like it allowed the election to be, manipulated by Russia and all of that. And
Right,
it kind
exactly.
of, but after that, like after the initial, like, sort of setup, like, I actually kind of feel like the way that it's wielded is just it's almost just like a backdrop. It's almost an ancillary, and more important, to the movie is to see how these guys react to the developments in their own sort of personalized, increasingly ghoulish ways. And it's played more for comedy. It's not like pearl clutching, really. And I think that was it ends up being like a really smart choice. Like to me, it Mountainhead ultimately, I to me plays as just like really like dark comedy and less and foregrounds like the comedy over the drama, which Succession I kind of like was like, it was all in like the power struggles and all of that, and it could too often just kind of be like about, the characters relationships and so with the benefit of just like an hour and a half 2 hour movie that you just get in and out, and the characters, we should say, like, are all, like, I thought pretty successful stand-ins for, like, sometimes, like, just specific, uh, tech titans and sometimes archetypes, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, there were like kind of different qualities of, them kind of blended together to some degree. But you could also see, that there's obviously people who, you're supposed to be associating with some of these dudes. And maybe it's worth just kind of basically saying a bit of the premise here. So, people who haven't watched it and don't care about spoilers, kind of know what is going on. And so as I said before, you essentially have these four very rich tech men, going to this kind of ski chalet that Super, as you mentioned, earlier, owns, even though he is the least wealthy of them, the only non-billionaire. Then kind of building up from that, there's Randall, who is the kind of older, kind of more father-like figure, it seems. He, has more money, but he also has terminal cancer, you learn earlier. And he's a really interesting character because he is thinking about mortality. He is thinking about his life and how he is going to continue to be able to live, even though he has terminal cancer and is clearly just not willing to accept that he is going to die, right? Kind of playing into one of these themes that we often hear the tech billionaires talking about. And then going up from them, there's Jeff, who owns a company called Builter, which is kind of like a fact-checking AI sort of a thing. You can think about that. More recently, Rami Youssef is the person who plays him. And then, the richest of them all is Venice or Ven, who owns Tram, which is, he's the world's richest person. It's the biggest social media network. And he has just rolled out these changes that are, basically enabling like AI generated misinformation, false information to spread like wildfire. And he's like, oh man, the engagement is up, like things are going so well. But then, over the course of the movie, you really quickly see how this, just causes like the whole world to start to fall apart. If you want to hear more, make sure to go to patreon.com/systemcrashpod to become a supporter and get access to our monthly bonus episodes. Thanks so much.